Thank you for your attention today. The objective of this induction is to introduce you to the important safety requirements necessary to follow in preparing you for your work at Ipsen Wrexham. A safe workplace is important to you and to everyone associated with Ipsen Wrexham. To help us achieve that, we need you to understand our rules embedded into our policies around safe working practice and working with electricity at Ipsen. You're about to see a presentation that will enable you to work with and contribute to a workplace that is always safe for you and for other co-workers. At the end of this short session, you must complete an induction assessment to show that you have understood the information within the presentation. Whilst undertaking electrical work on site, you will not only be working under the Ipsen Electrical Safe Working Policy, but also under the General Health and Safety at Work policies employed at the Ipsen Wrexham site. Thank you once again for your attention. To work on the LV electrical systems on the Ipsen Wrexham site, you must have an Ipsen status of competent or authorised person. This must be supported by a certificate of status issued by Ipsen Wrexham. All electrical work will be subject to current site permit requirements. As an authorised person, you will be the named person responsible for the job being undertaken, and where it is in line with the RAMs, you will be the primary person to perform safe isolation of the equipment, including appropriate verification of it being dead. As a competent person, you will not be permitted to perform the initial safe isolation, but you must lock on to equipment once the initial isolation has been performed and sign on to any permits controlling the work. At all times, work must be performed in line with the associated RAMS documents, supported by LOTO safe isolation documents where appropriate, and by observing specific control measures outlined on the permit. Most electrical work to be undertaken on site will necessitate a safe isolation procedure prior to commencement. This procedure must be performed by an authorised person. The procedure to achieve safe isolation is available within our Safe Isolation and Re-energisation policy. But here we will demonstrate the process with an engineer. Firstly, they will need to obtain all necessary equipment from one of a number of lockout stations on site and complete an appropriate lockout/tagout document for the isolation. This is referred to as a LOTO document. They arrive at the equipment to be worked on and, using the permit, verify that it is the correct equipment. They will also verify the voltage tester with the proving unit. The point of isolation for the equipment must be identified and verified from the RAMs. It is also necessary to determine whether the equipment has more than one source of supply, such as a backup. Similarly, a check is made on the RAMs as to whether the equipment has any stored energy hazard. The equipment is isolated by placing a padlock through the isolator handle and locking it off with the key. The completed LOTO documentation is attached to the padlock in a clear wallet as notice that work is being done. The key for the padlock is now placed inside a multi-way lock-off box. The equipment supply terminals must now be tested for dead using the AVT. This involves taking a measurement between live terminals and between live terminals and earth. If the equipment is dead, the AVT function will once again be checked on the proving unit to show that it is still functioning and the readings on the equipment can be trusted, which showed the equipment to be dead. If the AVT is still functional, this confirms that the measurements taken on the equipment can be trusted. Any other additional workers can now secure their own padlock to the lockout box, keeping their individual padlock key securely on their person and sign on to the permit. Work may now commence. Exceptions. In cases where the authorised person is the only person involved in the lock-off and the job to be done, then the authorised person will lock off equipment with a single padlock rather than a lockbox, and in such cases will place the key to that padlock securely on their own person. As work on the equipment is completed, one by one the workers will sign off the permit and remove their own padlock from the lockbox. The last lock removed will allow access for the authorised person to retrieve their key from the box, who must now verify that work is complete, all equipment and tools have been removed, and the equipment has been returned to a safe and usable condition. Finally, they will verify that all workers are clear and have signed off before removing their own padlock and reinstating the supply to the equipment. Thank you for watching this video today. We are confident that if you have watched closely, this will have prepared you for your work here at Ipsen Wrexham. In order to confirm your understanding of the procedures, we now require you to take a short assessment relating to the information you have just received. Remember, these systems are designed to keep you and those around you safe while working with electrical equipment at Ipsen Wrexham. A safe workplace and the correct use of systems ensures we all finish our shift and return home safe and sound. Thank you once again for your attention, and we hope you are enjoying working here at Ipsen and help us all to keep this site safe for everybody.